And so now that we know where we are going next, let's go ahead and speak with Lord Hien to take on our next challenge entitled Seiryu's Wall. Hien is eager to see the energy barrier in action. We will cross the burn by Yol and Falcon as before. Join me at the overlook near the House of the Fierce. Then that's where we will go. Hien provides some final instructions to Yugiri and Hakuro, and away he and Alice head off. So let's go ahead and join them there. Oops. Yeah, accidentally touched my control while I was looking at the chat. And thank you for offering there, Emily. But you unwittingly spoiled something. Should have waited until we reached that point. Yeah, because we're not there yet. Also, I think I'm beneath. Yep. I was beneath it. There you are. Give the word when you are ready to take wing. Head to the burn? Yes, we will. And so, the next day... So, this is what we've seen getting created by the people at Garland Ironworks.
It seems the engineers have matters well in hand. Should the barrier work as we intend, Doma will be free to reinforce her allies in Alamigo without fear of weakening her own borders.
Let's hope it works then.
Honored friends, the time has come to put your hard work to the test. Start the generator.
Go for it, man, at the controls. Let's get this thing charged up. Yeah, it's situated at multiple points. And bang! That's quite a lot of light.
Node 1 is operational. Nodes 2 to 8 are reporting similar energy levels. The barrier is forming.
And up it goes.
1,000 yards. 2,000. 3,000. Expansion remains smooth. No fluctuations detected.
Will it maintain stability? Because that thing is long and tall. But it needs to be.
5,000! Target altitude reached. The barrier is holding steady at 5,000 yards. We've done it!
That's quite a huge barrier. 5,000 yalms of altitude? Yeah, and as it turns out, our timing couldn't have been better.
Imperial airship. Of all the rotten timing.
But this is a gift, Mistress Alize. They can test our new wall for us.
Yeah. Will it hold or will it fail? The moment of truth has arrived. It works! Yeah, you ain't getting through here. Take your sorry ass back to Garlemald.
Seems solid enough, though I was hoping for a fireball.
Yeah, they just give up and set down. And I was hoping for a fireball too. Yeah, who's in there? Well, it's gonna be more familiar faces. and they come bearing the wrong kind of gift.
By the gods, it's Alphino.
Yes, it is.
What are you? Let me go! He has my brother!
Lower the barrier!
Yeah. We gotta take it down so soon. And what the heck happened to Alphanode? He looked just fine when we were seeing them traversing through the unusual territory. He's in the possession of Shadowhunter.
The lad is not dead, merely locked in slumber.
Know what that means?
No, not him too.
Yes, him too. Alphinode's become just like the other scions. Out like a light.
We could identify no cause and found no remedy. Thus I sought to return him to Doma, and into the arms of Lord Hien himself, it would seem. It is a day for fated reunions.
I guess so.
Would you not agree, adventurer? Or should I address you as the Warrior of Light?
This guy does seem to know who a lot of people are. And he does recognize when the aura of Warrior of Light and its title gets passed on from one person to the other. So, yeah. Who is this guy and how does he know who we are? And so, yeah. There was someone back in patch 4.3 when we first introduced this Shadowhunter who had a prediction on who this person was. And, yeah. When we switch over to Corinne, as we look into his eyes, we see a face that looks familiar. Yeah. Remember the leader of the Garlean Empire in A Realm Reborn? That's who he is.
Aye. Gaius van Baelsar, the Black Wolf. That was the title I was given. One I have long since relinquished.
Yeah, I'll still take you on.
Stand down. The legatus of the 14th Imperial Legion died in Castrum Meridianum. I am no more than Gaius Baelsar, a man without rank or allegiance.
Impossible. There's no way you could have survived.
Yeah, I mean, you guys probably remember all the wreckage that came crashing down on the guy. Including the ultimate weapon.
Do you remember how it unfolded? How I was deceived by La Habrea? How I was convinced that reviving the Ultima weapon would allow me to bring peace to Eorzea? The Ascian used me, as he used so many others, all to further the restoration of his wretched god.
That he did.
Yet even with the might of Alec at my command, you bested me. And as the Praetorium went up in flames, I was content to burn along with it. For a moment, at least.
Yeah. Miraculous survival.
A moment of folly. To surrender my life thus would have been to betray all who died for my cause. It was for them that I dragged myself free of the rubble, and swore vengeance on the Ascians.
By hiding in the middle of nowhere?
The Black Wolf has shed his pelt, never to return to Garlemald or her legions. I live now only to exact revenge. My principal quarry was to be La Habrea, whom I gather you have since ushered unto oblivion.
Actually, he got destroyed by the Archbishop, but hey, we'll take the credit.
But so many more remain. Long as their kind lurked in the shadows, laboring to sow chaos throughout our world, I would see each and every one dragged into the light and put to the sword. Are the Scions not of like mind?
Yeah, it's gonna put that question
In
on
a
us.
single respect, perhaps.
Then I shall continue the partnership the boy began, and share what intelligence I have acquired. Among
would
the
that be gained?
Ascians, the Black-Masked Ilk are subordinate to those who wear red. This you already know. Yet among the Red there exists a hierarchy. Those set adrift with the shards clearly stand below those still joined to the Source.
Source?
Nabriales, who once dared to intrude upon the Rising Stones, belonged to the former group.
How did
And
you know
while
about
he
that?
was indeed a dangerous foe, his powers were inconsequential next to the paragons of the Source. The first was La Hebrea, who plagues us no more. There is also the white-robed Elidibus,
Who we haven't seen in
and the
forever.
elusive Emmet Selk, about whom little is known.
Yeah. Whatever happened to Elidibus anyway?
We have files on La Hebrea and Elidibus, but I believe this Emmet Selk is new to us?
Yeah, I would say so.
As I assume my brother told you, we have evidence to suggest that an Ascian now walks in the body of the Crown Prince. Have you identified this interloper?
Elidibus seems the most likely culprit. As emissary, it is his role to maintain the equilibrium between darkness and light. Your many
Or so he
deeds in
claims.
Hydaelyn's name have upset the balance, and I believe he seeks to restore it by throwing his considerable power behind the Empire. As a leader of the Ascians, he is one of our primary targets. It was on the trail of this very prey that the boy and I came across the scene of a failed uprising. In the absence of a single Garlean casualty, we inspected the bodies of the rebels, and the lack of any external injury drew my immediate attention.
Yeah, that was shown off
They
at the
had
end of
been
the last
slain
patch.
by Black Rose, an alchemical invention of the Imperial Army. When I yet served as legatus, I ordered its production halted, and all stockpiles destroyed. Toxic gas is not a tool of conquest, but of extermination.
Yeah, he never... If you remember, Gaius never wanted them to the people of Eorzea to be killed. He wanted to rule over all of them, and the more subjects he had, the better.
Toxic gas? This must be the new weapon Maxima warned us about. Something deadly enough to sweep away all resistance in a matter of hours. Gods. You don't think they're planning to use this in Alamigo, do you?
Oh, I hope not.
Put your fears to rest. We infiltrated the production facility and destroyed all existing stores of the chemical along with the plant itself. Even should they rebuild the operation, they will not soon manufacture another batch. Regardless, I would draw your attention to a directive we discovered in the plant's records. The document was marked with a recent date and authorized with the signature of one Xenos Galvus.
Yeah, Xenos, of course, still out there. Causing a whole bunch of crap to take place.
A dead man signing the death warrant for thousands. 'Tis bad comedy.
Yes, it is.
But the tale does not end there. Within that same facility was a chamber filled with devices of elegant design. Cloning technology, we realized.
Cloning?
And what should we find in each and every incubator? But a young Emperor Solus.
Another thing that we learned at the end of the previous patch.
All of which prompts the question, were the Ascians responsible for these abominations, or was it the will of the Emperor? I must know which hand guides the Empire. Though I have given up my rank, I am yet a son of Garlemald, and I will fight for the future of my homeland.
Yeah, as he looks into Corinne's
It
eyes.
is time I return to the hunting of shadows. We should focus on our common foe. To reopen old quarrels now would serve no purpose.
You saved my brother's life, so I'm willing to let sleeping dogs lie. But in truth, it's not my decision to make.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Corinne's been at that ready stance for a while. Yeah. What we say? There are more important matters at hand, or we'll settle this another time. Well, he does have a point.
There was a time when I scorned those who placed their faith in false gods, even as I, in my blinkered conviction, place mine in Ascian promises. Unlike yours, my strength of will and my restraint was found wanting. We shall meet again, warrior of light.
But how soon will it be? Yeah. How soon will we be once again crossing paths with Gaius?
So that was the infamous Black Wolf. An unexpected ally, to say the least.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I am content to leave the fine-tuning of the barrier to cleverer minds. Let us bid our friends from the Ironworks farewell, and see what can be done for Alphino back in Doma.
And so away we go. But Corinne still has to look on as Gaius heads off. On the bright side, though, we can put the barrier back up again. Sadly, you won't get to see an encore of it going back up. And so, back at the Kienkan. Alphino is safely ensconced in a private chamber. My finest healer is examining him as we speak. Hey there, I say. I spoke with the physician and there are no outward signs of illness. Alphino is lost in a sleep from which he cannot be awoken. Just like the others. It seems that even the lands of the Empire were not far enough away to escape that cursed voice. I share your frustration, Alice, I do. But Alphino is returned to us alive and otherwise unharmed. All that remains is to find the means to wake him. Until then, you can but fulfill your duties as a scion. Yours and your brother's both. You're right, of course. There are arrangements to be made and little time to make them. To business then, my lord. Now that we know that Seryu's war works as intended, can we expect reinforcements for Alamigo? You most certainly can. As promised, we'll send troops to bolster our allies in Eorzea without delay. Pray be aware, however, that they will not arrive without delay. Save for some few who possess teleportation magics, the bulk of our force must be transported by sea, a lengthy voyage for which the smaller vessels favored by the Confederacy are ill-equipped. Accordingly, I mean to enlist the assistance of the East Orlando Trading Company in finding suitable ships, and it seems that someone cannot stop laughing and posting messages. I may have to block that person after I'm done. As for navigating the distances in question, we are in the happy position of being able to call upon those who plaster the course of my people's exodus to Eorzea. Beyond the procurement of ships, I think it's highly unlikely that our East Orlando friends will consent to any involvement in military operations, but I am certain that they will afford Alphino a berth aboard one of their vessels. I shall have a courage and accompany him from every elm of the way to the Rising Stones. You have my thanks, Lord Hien. Yugiri, I will go on ahead with our friends to Alamigo, enlist all those capable of teleportation, and put them at the disposal of the Eosian Alliance as soon as possible. They will form the vanguard. Yes, my lord. This is exactly what we hoped for. Least the Alliance leaders will be glad indeed to welcome the combined strength of the East.
Our supplies of Black Rose have been ruined, but the new plant is already under construction. We should have the first batch ready in time for the offensive, Your Radiance.
See that you do.
Ah, yes, the infamous Black Rose. If I recall correctly, Gaius did not much care for the invention. A ruthless and indiscriminate weapon indeed, this airborne poison. It seems you are capable of making decisions worthy of your bloodline.
With no gift for sorcery, we Garleans must look to Magitech to even the odds. If it spares the needless deaths of our soldiers and serves the cause of this empire, there is no method I would not employ.
How very noble of you. Truly, though, I must commend you for embracing your role as Emperor. You play the part of the determined ruler well. Sometimes even I catch myself believing. A silent agent of death. Now that I think on it, Black Rose may well possess the perfect aspect. Slowly but surely, the deluge of light has worked upon the ether here in the source. Well, I shall leave you to your own devices. Go forth and bloody the land with your grand and glorious war.
While you do what, precisely?
Need you ask? I will be doing what all Ascians do.
I am well aware that your kind exists only to usher in the next calamity. But you seem oblivious to the harm your singular agenda causes to the Empire. You cannot have forgotten the events which followed your mortal demise. Our homeland was plunged into civil war for your failure to name a successor. The edifice you so carefully constructed was but a hair's breadth from collapse.
Are you truly so naive? You thought me oblivious to the consequences of a departure so painstakingly timed?
It was by design?
Well, of course it was. Though I will admit the resulting panic exceeded even my wildest expectations. But how can you be surprised? Throwing the world into disarray was the very purpose for which this nation was, as you say, so carefully constructed. Now, if you have no further questions, I must be on my way. Since we may not meet again in this lifetime, it would be remiss of me not to offer a word or two of gratitude. I really must thank you for this surplus of vessels. I can mold any host into my own image, but having bodies tailor-made for me in this fashion is so much less tiresome. You dabbled in Allagan cloning techniques, yes? It certainly is a compelling, not to mention entertaining, field of research. And of all the options available, you chose the Founding Father on whom to experiment. You have a twisted streak to you, Varus, like grandsire, like grandson, hey? If events play out as planned, this will become something of a family enterprise. You will be the capstone of this world, I the anchor and shard, and together we will give the lie to this star's fraudulent existence.